Following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Well, welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville, and then from 10 until 11 on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham, and the legendary News Radio 1440 down in Montgomery, and then at 10 p.m. on WVNN again. I'm a very busy human being. With me, as always, another very busy human being, Mecca Musick. She is the CEO of 256today.com. Smart news for smart people. We've got a great show for you today. Grayson Everett will be with us. He is the editor-in-chief of Yellowhammer News. We'll talk with him about some of the stuff going on in the Alabama legislature. I'm very excited about getting into that stuff with him. And we have also got a great party shot for you about radicalizing people via MSNBC. Stay tuned for that. But right now, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. All right, Mecca, I had a very interesting conversation with Congressman Mike Rogers from the 3rd Congressional District, and I asked him very directly. I said, look, there's a lot of stuff going on in the federal government. DOGE is ripping through various different departments, finding waste, fraud, and abuse. The media, their Democrats are going completely insane about this because I guess they like waste, fraud, and abuse, maybe. But I asked this question. What about us? And he said, well, they're not like us, to quote Kendrick Lamar. And the reality of this is simple. Missile defense, national security, etc. Seems like they're going to be okay. Mecca, what do you make of this?
I think that Alabama has situated itself very wisely. I think no matter the administration, there could be cuts, but I think defense spending and funding is generally a safe bet. Now, I don't think that means everything in Alabama is off the chopping block. There are some concerns about, the SLS program. That is obviously going to be reviewed going forward. But as far as straight defense and Redstone Arsenal, I think we're in a good position.
Yeah, the word is efficiency.
Right.
The Department of Government efficiency. If there is inefficient stuff, if you're part of a program that's inefficient, there might be some reason to be concerned. But what I found interesting about my conversation with Congressman Rogers is I asked him like a very long question, and his response was no. And the reason I find that interesting, it wasn't a windy political answer.
Right.
It wasn't anything. It was no, period. What else you got for me?
Well, also, that's a little bit Rogers, but also talk about his position in D.C.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is involved in all sorts of stuff. He's chair of the Armed Services Committee. He does all these things, and he understands this. So, again, North Alabama is situated pretty well in regard to all of this stuff. And, I talked with Congressman Brooks this week, the former congressman from the 5th Congressional District as well, and he made it very clear, look, I'm a hawk, a deficit hawk. I'm all about cuts and things like this. He said, but if you go look at the Constitution, defense is laid out pretty clearly. That's what it's about. I think this is about what's happening in D.C., and I don't mean like with Congress. I think it's about what's happening in those buildings in D.C. I think that's what the real story is. The remote return to work stuff that you're seeing at Redstone Arsenal and across the state of Alabama, that's just kind of, I don't know how to put this, but that is unintentional. I think that's just part of it. So
not that people are happy about it here.
No, but I also, they're not the target of this.
Right.
I'll put it to you that way. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Alabama legislature. Lots going on down there. They are handling a bunch of different issues. Now, you can pick your poison as to what you find to be the most interesting out of all of these: gambling, public safety. What is a woman? A very complicated question. And then immigration as well. These are all things they're touching on. But I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to go back to the old stand-to here, Mecca. Gambling. There was a story out this week. 1819 News did it. As I predicted not too long ago, as soon as the Porch Creeks came off the reservation and into that Birmingham race course, I said, they're going to cut a deal. They're going to cut a deal. They're going to cut a deal. So I was talking with some lawmakers, and you know what came up? sports gambling.
Yes.
Sports gambling came up as a stumbling block of all of this. I was like very confused by that because it's almost like that, not that that was an afterthought, but it was never what I would think would be like a stumbling block, but maybe that is a stumbling block in this situation.
I think you have discounted how important sports betting is for both sides of the issue. You've seen ads for it. You've also seen people speaking out against this. I could see that being an issue going forward.
See,
but what's the solution? Right. That's what I'm curious. Okay, so we recognize this as a stumbling block. What are legislators saying is the most likely path forward?
Well, this is what I continuously try to get out of legislators. Is this the state of play? Let's go crazy and do all this stuff. And I don't mean that this stuff's crazy, but let's just do everything. Sports gambling, casinos, lottery, all this other stuff, or status quo. I mean, last year it appeared we might have got like status quo plus lottery and maybe a little extra stuff. That's over.
Right.
It is either all in or where we are. That seems to be what it is, and lawmakers seem to agree with that. And I think getting to the all-in thing is going to be very complicated to get all the pieces in. If you throw someone overboard to try to get something done, then you lose them. So you've got all these same pieces here that I think are very complicated, and I don't see a path forward. But here's what I know: the people who understand this stuff, they see a path forward.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I say that people who understand it, they see it. Maybe I'm not one of those people. All right, moving on. Let's talk about leakers here for a second. This is an important thing as well. Around the country, there is immigration enforcement taking place, and that immigration enforcement relies apparently on surprise. And at this particular point in time, some of that surprise is being lost. You've all heard about the apartment complex in Colorado. Surprise! The story we heard about gang members taking it over and all these other stuff, and we were told that's not real, that didn't happen, that's not a thing, that's made up. It was real. It was happening. It wasn't made up. And when they went to deal with that this week, apparently somebody inside the government tipped off people involved, and they hit the bricks. So there was an issue here. Tommy Tuberville learns of this and says there are people inside the media tipping people off, and there are people inside the government tipping people off, and lock them up.
What I was most interested in his comments, and he is the king of interesting comments.
Yeah.
Let's not discount that. Was the media? What is the connection to the? What is he saying the media did? Because that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
So is it that the media tipped off?
The media got tipped off and then tipped off the gang members.
Okay.
That's his suggestion. That's how I read that. That sounds insane. But again, I don't think they're under any obligation not to do that. I mean, I don't think they should do that.
It's not an obligation thing necessarily, but you have to stop the leaks to the media, I would say.
Right, and that's more of what he's going for.
But then I don't think you should try to stand in the way of media reporting news.
Right, and the issue he's going to have is if it did go leaking from inside the government to the media is not the media's problem. That's not their problem.
Exactly.
That's not their problem. That's the government's problem. If they turn around and tell people who are bad guys stuff, I think they're still covered. You can criticize them. I mean, that's the beauty of the First Amendment. People always say, well, they have the First Amendment right. Of course they do. But then you can also go, you suck. I mean, you can say that to them. You can point out to them that you disagree. That's part of it, too. There's a difference between I'm going to put those people in jail, which Tuberville kind of hinted at.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the problem. But again, the leakers in this situation are the problem, not the leakies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that that's an important piece. And I guess we can stick on Tommy Tuberville here for a second because this guy, I don't know if you guys know this, used to be a coach. College football. I know. People are very surprised about that when I tell them. He was the head coach at Auburn, and he is not happy about the current state of name, image, and likeness deals. Nick Saban wasn't either. And they say that's one of the things that maybe ran him out of the game. I'm not so sure that's the case. Either way, he's great on College Game Day. Leave him there. But back to the actual issue at hand. We've had a lot of different conversations in this state about name, image, and likeness deals. Some are suggesting that maybe high school football might be next, and high school players might get these deals. That sounds crazy, but hey, it is what it is. Here's what I find interesting. In the Alabama legislature, they are suggesting that tax cuts to people who get NIL deals, meaning if you get a big $1 million NIL deal or a $50,000 NIL deal or a $50 NIL deal, you don't pay taxes on it. Here's who they're trying to combat against.
Yes.
Texas,
yes.
Florida,
yes.
Tennessee,
yes.
States with no income tax. But also you got Georgia and Louisiana. They've also made similar deals like this or are working on similar deals like this. This is a prickly situation. We love our football, but do we want to give tax cuts to millionaires? At least that's how I'm framing it.
Okay, so I feel like there's no discussion on this. Like, this is an obvious shoe-in. Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it is an NIL arms race in the SEC right now.
I used that exact
and
phrase
you
earlier.
Did you really?
Yep.
And you want to put Alabama behind our competition? Absolutely not, Dale.
Yeah. When you bring someone in to recruit them, what you're trying to do is stack up as much stuff as you possibly can to give them. Hey, look at all these things. Look at these girls. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at all this stuff. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's pretend that we don't understand how things work. Okay. Let's pretend we don't get it. Okay. Well,
listen,
how dare you?
I don't want to say anything is a shoo-in in the Alabama legislature because you never know. But supporting recruiting efforts for football in the state, come on.
I'm a little upset about this because you could have just said, I don't want to say anything is a slam dunk, and it would have made a lot more sense. But you said shoo-in. I don't know what you're doing here. But yes, you're right. This is a no-brainer, and they should do it. And you're going to hear the same people who say stuff like, we focus so much on football and not enough on education. It's like, yes, because the cost of it versus the other is minuscule. We are talking about a couple of people getting a sweetheart deal so they'll come and play sports in the state because they're special.
It makes so many people happy.
Yeah, and on the other hand, we're talking about, we should do the overtime tax cut. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars versus other things. You got to focus on what's actually at play here. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, Grayson Everett will be with us. He is the editor-in-chief at Yellowhammer News. So stay tuned.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use. It helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. U.S. Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. U.S. Med. Better service. Better care.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Get Fox 54 Plus everywhere you stream. Watch local newscasts live or on your schedule, plus exclusive specials like Weekend Review, a recap of the week's top stories. Fox 54 Plus, live, local, and always on.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Musick. We are awaiting the arrival of Grayson Everett. We'll have a conversation with him. He is the editor-in-chief at Yellowhammer News. We'll talk with him here in just a little bit. But, Mecca, before we do, I want to talk about the public safety side of what's been going on in the Alabama legislature. You know,
that's really odd that you said you want to talk about it, because I just complained to you that we didn't talk about it. But this is you wanting to talk about it, correct?
Okay, well, thank you for that complaining. But here's the question I have for you before we jump to Grayson Everett here in a second. One of the things you got to think about, the Democratic mayors have been complaining about the Glock switches for a long time. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, guys, you have some other issues you need to deal with. And the Alabama legislature is handing them a gift right now and saying, okay, we'll have a discussion about this. If they pass this, then the mayors are going to say, well, we just passed it. And that's why all the killing's happening in our city. It's because they just passed it. It wouldn't have happened otherwise. Is this a gift to them? Okay, so talking about the public safety bills, though, that one is out of the Senate, and I think it is moving forward. The whole package, though, remember when we talked over and over to pre-session to legislators talking to us about what was coming up, they made public safety. This is going to be a top issue. Do you think this package of bills goes far enough to where you want it? I mean, you were talking about having like full takeovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing that. The answer is no. Grayson Everett, you're here with us. Maybe you'll answer my question here. The Alabama legislature is really considering this Glock switch ban. They seem to have some bipartisan support for this. I think a lot of the support on the Republican side of it is basically, would you please shut up about this? Fine, we'll give you this. Stop complaining and do something about your cities. Grace, you're the editor-in-chief at Yellowhammer. Is that a fair assumption, a fair way to look at it?
Hey, well, first of all, good afternoon. Thank y'all for having me. Yesterday, the governor, Aaliyah, some local sheriffs, the mayors, a lot of law enforcement was at the Capitol talking about the package of bills, which you're right, a number of them deal with guns and firearms. The Glock switch, you know, is less of a ban and more so of being local prosecutors and local law enforcement being able to enforce possession of those devices in the same way that the federal law does. So, you know, if you're in possession of a Glock switch, which makes your gun unstable, it goes everywhere. Mayor Woodfin was at the State House yesterday and argued that, you know, Birmingham's overall death toll would be lower if, you know, they had not used Glock switches in those cases. So the increased penalties on possessing a Glock switch is a lot more popular than some of the other ones that are being considered right now. But the overall package kind of deals with a number of different things that there's a lot of enthusiasm from law enforcement, from the governor. Like you said, it's her number one priority this year, dealing with liability for police officers. You know, if they take an action in the line of duty, law enforcement says that they should have high degrees of, civil protections that, allow them to do their job.
Yeah, there's a little bit of something for everybody in this particular mix here, and I think that's an important part of all of this. But the larger package, like Mecca was saying before, does not really go as far as a lot of people thought that it was going to. Why is that?
Well, I think lawmakers do have options. Representative Reed Ingram, who represents the Montgomery area and Pike Road, he's got a bill that he's been working on for a long time that would allow the governor and the attorney general to jointly determine if a local police jurisdiction like Birmingham or Montgomery, falls below a certain standard, then in cooperation with the local department will appoint their own police chief. In my judgment, that is not 100% off the table this session. I think, it would take some warming up. I think that would be, pushed back on big time. by Democrats, but I don't think that is completely off the table this year. But it's not a part of the crime package, but I think lawmakers have a number of options at their disposal.
Grayson, earlier we were talking about what is basically a recruiting bill in the Alabama legislature, the tax cut on NIL deals. I was of the opinion that this is a slam dunk to get through. Tell me, though, how are the legislators receiving this?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, pretty stunning stuff, and just kind of another notch in the belt that, NIL and the consequences and, however you look at it is really kind of having a big effect in other places that are not sports. I mean, state legislatures are now looking at this. Georgia introduced, something very similar. So I think there's some measuring, going on around the country in state legislatures to try to get in on the competitiveness. It's going to be interesting, though. I'm really fascinated to see how all lawmakers kind of respond to it, because I think you're going to get, Democrats saying interesting things. I think you're going to get fiscal conservatives saying interesting things as this kind of measures up against, other forms of tax relief and who gets prioritized. It's really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody says, because it'll be something.
Yeah, the conversation is going to be about the overtime tax cut. They're going to say, why can't we do this? Because the pile of money is way smaller. It's not even remotely the same thing. Speaking of piles of money, people want it. I mean, they really do. The gambling money, we're back at that conversation. The Poarch Creek Indians, Birmingham Racecourse, are they ready to make a deal?
Well, I think not much has changed from where we left off. Ultimately, it sounds boring to say, but this is the view of the new pro tem as well. We've said it so many times, the House is not touching it this year, but it's the view of the pro tem, and I think everybody in general, that until a bill gets filed or until senators start talking openly about it, really, we don't know anything.
But are the Poarch Creek Indians willing to make a deal? Because look, here's the deal. The players involved, the quasi-legitimate gamblers, the sports gamblers, the Poarch Creek Indians, they all have their own constituencies inside those buildings at the State House. And the prominent principals have to be able to make a deal first. Are they willing to deal?
It's interesting, but I don't know much about the current moment because not many senators have talked about it. Senator Gavan pointed out on your show earlier, the interplay between the possibility of a lottery and sports betting, and PCI's role in it, and how many senators you're giving and taking or losing and gaining in that situation. And really beyond that, who knows what form it'll take. I think there's the strongest appetite, obviously, for some form of lottery, but if a simple lottery would be introduced, it would go from there with senators who want sports betting included. So really, right now, until a bill gets filed, you can't know for sure. You don't know who's playing offense or defense until a bill gets filed.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Last question here, yes or no answer. It's either everything: gambling, lottery, casinos, sports betting, or it's the status quo.
By the end of the session?
Yeah.
You said yes, no, but it was an or.
Okay, he knows what I meant.
Okay.
Is that fair?
We'll see on Sine Die, but I think as of right now, from what we know, it's trending toward nothing.
Okay, there we go. Grace Everett, thank you very much. Editor-in-Chief, Yellow Hammer News.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Mecca Musick, she is on her way out the door, so the show gets so much better. Stay tuned. Alabama Politics this week.
Get Fox 54 Plus everywhere you stream. Watch local newscasts live or on your schedule, plus exclusive specials like Weekend Review, a recap of the week's top stories. Fox 54 Plus, live, local, and always on.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Take 5 minutes of your time right now. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Attention. This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 877-744-0750. That's 877-744-0750. 877-744-0750.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. U.S. Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. U.S. Med. Better service. Better care.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Alabama Politics this week. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a different setup right now because we had a technical snafu with the recording. So I will have to make do from my home studio. Before we jump into my parting shot, let me tell you a little bit about the 7 things you should be talking about today. Every single day, I will write an email up for you, send it directly to you, and you'll have the 7 things you should be talking about that day. Head on over to yellowhammernews.com right now and sign up for that email, the 7 things you should be talking about today. Right now, let's go ahead and get to my parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at Representative Robert Garcia, but actually, it's probably actually directed at MSNBC, who is radicalizing a number of Democratic Congress people, including Yasmin Crockett from Texas. Well, Garcia went on MSNBC this week and said that he had no interest in working with the DOGE committee, a committee he was on in Congress, but he was showing up there basically to cause a scene. Of course, everyone on MSNBC thought this was awesome, and then he went and he made that scene in Congress where he referred to Elon Musk as a male genitalia. Let's just put it that way. And it was not a good scene at all. Then later on, he goes back on MSNBC and gets a friendly interview there. It's a cycle of radicalization that we have seen over and over and over again. MSNBC hosts are getting members of Congress on their programs who they like. They then praise them for doing things that are not good, but things that those MSNBC hosts like. Then they get them back on the program And the cycle continues as everyone chases that dopamine hit of getting praised for being ridiculous. We've seen a lot of that on social media and cable news. It's not only Democrats that do this, but as of right now, MSNBC is radicalizing members of Congress, and I'm not sure that's good for anyone except for the host on MSNBC. It's not good for the Democratic Party. It's not good for those members of Congress. Maybe it's good for guys like me who talk for a living, but it's probably not good for America. Thank you very much for being here and watching and listening to Alabama Politics this week. We'll be back next week. Talk to you soon.